Hi, welcome to the Armed Guardian Podcast, Season 3, Episode 3. Today, Crystal and I will be discussing holiday travel and safety tips to help keep you, your family, your home, business safe. So stay tuned and listen to our topics and our suggestions while you listen and enjoy today's episode. Hi, welcome to the Armed Guardian Podcast. I'm your host, Brian, here with our co-host, Crystal. Today, we're going to talk about holiday safety, personal, home, travel, business, shopping, things that you can do to be more secure, safe with your holiday stuff, because this is going into a time of the year where a lot of people are out shopping, a lot of money is transacted between people, and theft and burglary are higher during the holidays. So we wanted to kind of reach out to everybody and just kind of give them some tips, some information, and let's go from there to help make you, your home, your travel, everything a lot more safer and more comfortable. Crystal, welcome. How are you doing today?
Doing great, Brian. I'm looking forward to the holiday season, as well as spending this time to educate our listeners on some safety tips that hopefully don't ruin their holiday season.
Right. Okay. Well, I guess we'll do this like we did with Cass, the last recording, just kind of have an open discussion about, the four different topics that we have here. And I'll give you the opportunity to talk about yours, and then I'll interject a little bit. And then if I've got anything to add, then put mine on the tail end, and we'll just follow that through the four topics that we have. So our first is personal tactics. What can we do to make ourselves more secure, more safe, either at home, personally, or while we're out in the public? What are some things that you suggest or that you teach or advise people on?
All right, let's start from being out in public during the holidays. There's a lot of shopping going on. This is a time of year where everybody is out doing their thing, and oftentimes we let our guards down. We need to remember that we always need to be aware of our environment at all times. Mm-hmm. This is not the time to let it down and get on our phone and get distracted, because that's exactly what criminals are looking for.
Mm-hmm. Did you freeze up, I think? Hello, Crystal. Are you there, Crystal?
Okay, yeah, and I'm just trying to find out where my screen just went to, because now it's not there. Ugh, like you
well, if you want to keep it this, I wasn't going to do the video. I was just going to do this.
Yeah, that's fine.
So
yeah,
I lost you, and I'll edit the silence out. But let's see, what was it?
Pickpocketing.
Yes, your safety, being not letting your guard down with your phone and stuff, and that's about the point that I had lost you, and we'll pick up from this point, continuing on.
Okay. All right. So I was saying was during this time of year, we're in crowds such as the shopping malls, and pickpocketing can be a big problem for us. So if you're a gentleman, make sure you keep your wallet in your front pockets. Don't leave them in your back pocket, which makes it a lot easier for criminals to come up and snatch it without you knowing. For the ladies, if you have a cross bag or a purse that goes over, or even a fanny pack, let's just say, put those special items or your valuables, your wallets, inside of that area. Don't just fling it over your shoulder where somebody can grab your purse and run. We don't want to look like an easy target for them.
Right. Yeah, the one thing with the fanny packs, if you carry one, I know a lot of them have So they're, well, not a lot of them. I know some that have their securement on the back side. So if you're carrying the pouch in the front, the latch or joint connecting piece is in the back. Some of them will have it up next to the pouch itself, but make sure that that connection is somewhere where you have visibility to watch it, and not somebody can come up, press the button, press undo it, and then snatch it from you.
Yeah, that's how mine is too. It's right on the side. It doesn't latch in the back. So you're absolutely right about that.
And then another thing, you talked about guys with wallets. One thing I used to teach in my situational awareness classes that for guys, carry all your important stuff in your front pocket and carry a dummy wallet with just maybe a couple of dollars, a couple of old debit cards that are no good anymore, or even go get prepaid cards, but just don't activate them and put them in your wallet, because you giving them criminals something, they're going to think that they got something and more than likely run off after you give them what little bit they are asking for, but you still got your license, your good credit cards or debit cards, and your money and stuff still in your front pocket, or if wherever you want to carry it. But have a dummy wallet and actually use that to your advantage. I tell them to carry it on their non-dominant side, and that way when they're turning, they can turn and reach for the wallet. The people will see that they're reaching for the wallet. And if you're carrying, it actually will give you a chance to move your other hand to your concealed weapon if you need to draw it while distracting them with giving them that wallet. So that's just some of the tactics that I used to teach whenever I was teaching that situational awareness and carry options.
Yeah, I call it the decoy keys or decoy wallets.
Yeah.
So you're exactly right about that. I encourage them to do the same thing. But just whatever we do, want to make sure it's a lot harder for the criminal to target us. And if you just give them something, they run off, they're happy, you're safe. That's exactly what we're trying to do.
Yeah. And during the holiday seasons, more, if you can shop in pairs or groups, and then just have somebody designated, more so if you need to be observer while you're putting stuff in the car, getting out of the car, going in and out of businesses. Just do it in groups, because as we know, criminals, especially solo criminals, they don't want to engage a group of people that they think that they could be overpowered or caught injured or something like that.
Mhm. And that goes into another point you're saying, like when we're going out to our vehicles, and if we have our gifts that we've just purchased and we put them in our vehicle, we want to make sure that they're in the trunk. Don't just sit them on your front seat or your back seat where they're visible, because criminals are opportunists. And the minute that they walk by and they see your bags there, your window's going to be smashed and your bags are going to be gone.
Yeah.
So make sure you put them in your trunk. It doesn't mean it can't happen in your trunk, because there are people who will watch you in the parking lot and then just pop your trunk and go. But
Right.
it's a lot more secure though if they're not just sitting in their front seat
Yeah. And
or
if
the
you
back seat.
go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay, I was going to say also, with some of the SUVs that have that open back, make sure you have, if you can, purchase or have included the cover, that retractable cover that you can pull over, because out of sight, out of mind is a
That's
big
right.
deterrent. But you just don't want it to look like, hey, there's something in there. If they can't see in there, it's less of a enticement for them to break in and then not have anything other comprised to looking in, seeing something, and okay, I break this window, I can grab this and go, and things of that nature. So
Oh
uh,
yeah.
just be aware of, if you've got an open area in your SUV or van or something, that you have some way of covering or making it look like not much is maybe in there. So
Yeah. And another thing too, when we're out shopping, if you can, if you have credit cards, use your credit cards. I'm not telling you to go and get in debt, but use your credit cards, because if something were to happen and there's fraud on your credit card, it's a lot easier to get that taken care of with credit than it is for debit.
mhm.
So if you can use credit, use credit. Just don't go crazy and get yourself in debt, because that's going to be a whole nother problem for you. But yeah, use your credit cards if possible, and be very wary of where you're shopping at. You got to make sure it's a legit business. If you're doing online shopping, that's another problem in itself.
Yep.
But definitely use your credit card when possible.
Yeah, and no, I have heard stories and have actually seen it, but be aware, popular like restaurants or stores where you give your card to the waiter, waitress, the cashier, and they turn and move away or put the card out of your sight. Be leery because they may be running that card through a skimmer before they run it into the register and stuff where they got your information. So just be aware of that. Try not to let your card out of your sight while you're giving it to somebody for a purchase or something.
Yeah. And don't carry large amounts of cash. There's people that run to the bank and they don't want to use credit or debit. And for whatever reason, they go take out a lump sum of money and they're walking around with it. Now you get robbed and you can't get that cash back.
Right. So,
So it's not a good idea. And don't go out wearing fancy jewelry and, expensive purses, anything that makes you look like an easy target or look like you have something of value.
mhm.
They'll target you. So, leave your beautiful diamond earrings at home, diamond rings, nice necklaces. This is not the time to be out there flaunting it.
Right. Okay. Let's see. I can't really think of anything else that we really haven't covered. Just remember, if you've taken a class for situational awareness, remember the color codes, and
Mhm.
remember the path that you really need to watch or go through. Don't cut through the alleys. Don't go in through the parking garages. Try to minimize that if you do that, because that's where you're more so out of the sight of others, and that's the prime breeding ground for robbery or assault or something to happen. And we want to try to minimize that. Stay on the sidewalks, take the long way around if you have to, and then always, if you can, go in groups. So that's pretty much all
Right.
I had.
Yeah, and well lit areas, be mindful of where you're parking.
Mhm.
I know it's going to be busy, the parking lots are full, but if you can park if you're out shopping at night, and even now, so with the time changes, getting darker a lot earlier, so, 6, 7 o'clock at night, it's dark out. You need to make sure you're parked where there's bright lighting so somebody just can't ambush you in the dark. And it's also a good idea to have a tactical flashlight if you are going to be shopping out at night. Even if you're parked on a bright light, I do like tactical flashlights to give
Yeah,
me more of an advantage so I can see what's going on around me. And if I have to use it as a defensive weapon, I can do that as well.
right. And one other thing that just popped in my mind, when you're pulling into a parking lot at a restaurant, mall, a store, or something, whenever you park, keep your doors locked and wait just a few minutes. Observe around you before you get out. And then whenever you return to the vehicle, once you get in the vehicle, get in as quickly as you can to put your stuff up and then jump in the vehicle. But as soon as you get in, lock the doors. That way you prevent anybody from just snatching open the doors. They'd have to break the window to get in or get access to you.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Right to Bear is the leading self-defense legal protection you can count on if the moment comes to defend yourself or your families. Right to Bear provides the legal representation, expert witnesses, gun replacement, and even a 24-hour hotline for peace of mind exactly when you need it most. Sign up at protectwithbear.com and use promo code BTT to get 10% off. With Right to Bear, you'll never defend your freedoms alone again. Join now with the promo code BTT at protectwithbear.com.
Yeah, don't sit there and check your text messages and emails at that point. Just go ahead and get out of that spot. And if you have to go someplace else to do that, that's fine. But just don't do it in the parking lot in case somebody's actually watching you.
Right,
You don't want to make yourself an easy target by just sitting in your car any longer than you need to be.
right. Okay. Anything else on under the personal that you want to address or touch on?
Just like we were saying, we want to make sure we're aware of our environment. If you feel like something is off, trust your gut.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sketchy people a lot of sketchy people out this time of year. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about home tactics that we can use for, fortifying or, being safe at home. What are some of your recommendations or your teachings that you do?
So first of all, we need to start by locking our doors.
Hmm.
It's amazing how many people don't even lock their doors,
Yeah.
and that's a big problem. So make sure you have your home safely secured. If you're going to go on vacation, don't announce it. Don't put it all over social media. The countdown has begun, 4 more days till our trip. And, anybody, especially if you have a public profile, if they know you're out of town, you're going to be an easy target for somebody to come in and break into your home. So just be very careful of what you're sharing on social media. And maybe you're out of town and you're sharing pictures of where you're at that current time.
Hmm.
It's not a good thing for a criminal. I mean, it's not a good thing for you because criminals will also know that you're away. If you have a neighbor or somebody that can come and check your property, make sure you set that up beforehand.
Hmm.
Back in the day when we used to get newspaper deliveries, that used to be a big thing. Like you got to have somebody pick up your newspapers.
Yeah.
Not too many people have that anymore. But
Yeah.
if you're going to be away for an extended period of time and you do have mail, the mail will hold that for you.
Hmm.
So you don't have to worry about you have, a mailbox that's getting full and people see that and they say, wait a minute, there's a lot of mail in that box. Somebody's not around. But contact your post office and have them hold your mail for you.
And even some of your carriers like FedEx, UPS, some of those you can have actual delivery instructions for packages after they ship. So if you know you're not going to be there, you can actually say, leave this with my neighbor at such and such. And most of them that I have encountered will do that. Or either you can just have them hold it. They don't like to hold it, but some of them understand and will do that. But if you can't do any of that, again, your neighbor that you have that you trust, that, hey, I'm having a package come on Wednesday. I'll be out of town. Would you pick that up and take it in and I'll get it when we get back and stuff? And then you were also saying about the photos, social media. Wait until you get back home from your vacation or your trip to photo dump and everything.
Right. Yeah. Back to the home delivery too. During the holidays, porch pirates, they go crazy. This is the time of year. I mean, it's a good percentage of the holiday crimes
Hmm.
that do occur are porch pirates. So if you have Amazon Prime and you have those smart garage door openers,
Hmm.
you can set it up where they can deliver those packages into your garage. They
Hmm.
get like a one-time code and they put it in, whether or not you feel comfortable with that. But if you do and you have that technology, they will more than happy they're more than happy to deliver those packages into your garage. You can also request that they leave them behind your house. Like if you tell them, hey, deliver, in my backyard or behind my fence, they're willing to do that behind some kind of a plant. People have like these big pots and stuff,
Right.
put it there, but you can request that. Also, if there's a way to request a signature so that there's not just going to be left behind if you have no other options. So these are some things that we can do to kind of counter these porch pirates. I've been a victim of it myself, and it's so annoying. And then you have to contact the Amazon or whoever and see if they can redeliver it. And if it's the holidays, they may not get it in time.
Right.
So another thing too is make sure you report it. I believe it's only about 10% of these types of crimes are ever reported. So when we're talking about crime statistics in our area, we can't get a really accurate indicator when people are not reporting these types of crimes. So definitely report it. It doesn't matter if it's the smallest item,
Hmm.
please report it.
And talking about the porch pirates and leaving your packages, alternative spots on your property, security cameras, ring cameras, they actually would be a wise thing. I've people have them set up as their doorbell, or they have a camera in a window or on the eve of their home where they record people coming up to their door or around their property and stuff. If you've got that, and you don't have to have that through a security system, you can do that, individually, like with I know Roku Security has cameras, Ring has cameras. There's several people that you can do the wireless based, and it will record it to either cloud if you pay for it, or to the memory card, or you get notification on your phone that there's movement or something. You can look at it while you're away. So do that. If you have an alarm system, make sure that that's armed, during the vacation while you're gone, or even while you're at home, because they are big deterrents a lot of time, especially if people know that you have an alarm system or you have the signage out front. And I've known people that have gotten signs and put them out front, even though they don't have alarm system, but it's a good deterrent.
Right. I've seen that too. Or fake cameras even.
Yeah.
Yeah, anything you can do to try and trick the bad guys, right?
Yeah. And then, no, like we were saying, some of the other things that you can do for your home while you're away is, have a neighbor come over, turn off and on lights in the home to make it look like there's somebody in and out. If you have a relative or a neighbor that has a spare car, have them move a car around in your driveway or on your property so it makes it look like somebody's there, and it's more of a deterrent for somebody not knowing if you're home or not, actually, to do something. So
Mm-hmm. Yep, that works.
let's see. We talked about alarms. We talked about porch pirates, cameras, neighbors, mail holds. Anything else you can think of?
Yeah, we got to be careful of the holiday scammers out there.
Right.
With these offers that are too good to be true, be very careful of those. They're everywhere during the holidays. They're going around asking for donations. You need to do your research and make sure they are a legit organization. Because anybody, well, nowadays everybody has Zelle or Cash App or Venmo. I have some way of getting your money.
Right.
And if you didn't do any research, God knows where that money's going to.
Right.
So be very careful of those scams. Another thing they do online is you'll get, being that we're always doing a lot of online shopping, you'll get these notifications about your tracking and information of that, or click on this. Be very careful because oftentimes those are scams.
Yeah.
And they look real.
And the ones that say, there's a problem with your package or your delivery,
Right.
click this link. We do a lot of online shopping, so it's hard during the holiday season. So it's hard to know if that's true or not. The best thing is, I know, like with Amazon, you can go to Amazon and click on your order and see exactly what's going on with it. If there's a problem, they'll have it in the app for you to contact somebody. So don't just laxly click on the links or anything. Do some investigation on it, because like you said, they make it look real professional, real true, and all it is a phishing or trying to get your information for nefarious reasons. So
Yeah, and I know, like, when you're shopping, make sure they're verified websites with secure checking out. I don't know what they call that, but there's usually like a padlock icon. You have
right.
like the HTTP, whatever,
Yeah.
the URL, and then there'll be like a padlock icon. So you got to make sure it's secure. Don't just put your card information in, not knowing if it's a secure website or not.
Right.
Because, as you know, a lot of these crimes do happen online. So we got to make sure that these are, in fact, real, legit websites.
Okay. Yep. Let's see. Oh, one thing too you can do, some departments will have vacation watches. If you call like your local police or sheriff's department, some of them offer a service where they will have an officer try to run by, not saying that they will, but if they're not busy, try to patrol residences where they've registered that they're out of town on vacation, and they will try to get an officer to at least ride by, look for anything out of place, and gives you an extra benefit of security with the police presence in that area. So that's
Right.
another suggestion.
Yeah. And also after the holidays, because, we're trying to return to normal, but make sure when you're disposing of the boxes, put them away where they're not out in plain sight. So if you have new electronics, your computers, laptops, phones, if you put it out on the side of the road and people see that, they know exactly what you have. So make sure you dispose of them where people cannot see what those items are.
Mm-hmm. And I guess one other thing that I just popped in my mind, that it's not really security, theft related or anything like that, but be aware of fire hazards. Your Christmas tree, if you're going on vacation and you have a live tree, don't leave your lights or don't set timers for that unless you've got somebody that's actively putting water into the tray to keep it moisturized. Otherwise, you've got a potential fire hazard. Be aware of where you're putting things. If you're going to be out of town for a period of time, maybe shut your AC maybe off if you can. Just set it on where the fan comes on, and just watching for any fire hazards. We want to make sure that around your home is picked up. There's nothing that's combustible per se around there. You got canisters of propane or something on your patio for your grill. Just be mindful of keeping that maybe at a distance while you're gone, because that you never know when a canister is going to develop a leak, and then you got propane going around, and all it takes is just a spark to ignite that. Water, that's another thing, especially in the cold, in the with it being Christmas and stuff, and some of the colder environments, pipes freezing, and having a water leak or a flooding. Maybe shut your water off while you're on vacation if you can. It's just another way of controlling damage control, I guess, is the best thing, because you'd hate to come back and find your house flooded and a lot of stuff ruined because water's been in the floor for 3 days, and that's going to put a damper on your holiday spirit or your post-holiday spirit.
Yeah, unless you have some work you wanted to get done, that's a real quick way to get it done. We needed to get rid of that old flooring.
Yeah.
Now you're going to get fresh new floor. But with all jokes aside, you don't want to come home to some flooding, or even worse, your house is burnt down.
Right. Okay. Nothing else has popped in my head on the home side. You got anything that's popped into yours that you want to discuss before we go to travel?
Nope, we'll go right on to travel.
All right. Well, now we're going to discuss travel tactics. What's your best recommendations, best practices for travel during the holiday?
Yeah, so during the holiday, when you're at the airports, we got to make sure that they usually announce it on the speaker over and over, not to leave your belongings unattended, but yet people still do that. And I do know that some people will have gifts inside of their luggage, or even, items that are very valuable. So make sure you keep an eye on that. Don't ever leave anything unattended. Even if you think that you can trust somebody next to you, hey, can you, watch my bag? I'm going to run to the bathroom. You don't know who these people are. So never leave those bags unattended. Same with your valuables, such as your passport and your ID. Keep that in a safe, secure place, because the last thing you want to do is get stuck in another country or somewhere else where you're not able to fly back home. It's a big pain in the butt. So make sure you keep up with those items.
Yeah. And as you're traveling under travel, especially if you're within the continental U.S. and you're flying with a firearm, making sure that you are legally or securing it like you need to for the airlines, the FFA, but also that you check the jurisdiction or the area you're going to, that you can legally possess a firearm, concealed or otherwise, where you're going. Just knowing where reciprocity is and laws of that effect. That's a big thing. A lot of people don't think, hey, I'm in Florida and I'm going to go see family in Jersey, and you go to Jersey and you got your 15-round magazine hanging with you. Oops, I made a mistake. They're not going to say, oh, well, we'll let you slide on that. Know your laws, know your regulations of where you're going, so you save yourself some legal trouble.
Absolutely.
Good place, a little plug here for reciprocity, and a great place to check laws as you're, whether you're traveling in a car, plane, or bus or something. Go to the USCCA. They've got a reciprocity feature either on the app or on their website that you can actually check the laws of each state that you may be driving through or going through. Make sure that there's nothing that sticks out that you need to be aware of, like duty to inform, magazine restrictions, ammo restrictions, things like that. Every jurisdiction is different. So safeguard yourself by keeping abreast of those changes as you cross state lines and get to your destination. Let's see. And then again, if you travel and you're traveling with a firearm, some places you can use protections, like say you're going through Illinois, if you stop and have to stop to get gas or something and you're concealed, unless you've got your firearms permit through the Indiana, your ability, I forget the void card, firearms ownership ID. You make sure that if you can't carry in that state, but you can carry in your vehicle while passing through, make sure that before you get out, that you put your handgun up somewhere where securely while you're out of your vehicle, so you don't get into any trouble by forgetting after you get out and then, oops, I got to get back in, or you go into the store and someone sees it. Again, legal obligations, legal troubles that you want to avoid. Anything else you want to put on travel or talk about on travel?
Just also make sure, if you're going with an Uber driver, make sure you're checking the app and you're getting in the vehicle that's registered for the Uber app. And you can even ask for the identification of the driver. Don't just get into anybody's vehicle. This has happened quite a bit with women. They've been picked up by somebody and it's not even the driver. And these people are able to go on and create these accounts, and they're not even who they say they are. So be very careful just jumping into any Uber or Lyft. I think Lyft does a better job than Uber. I mean, I don't work for them or anything, but from what I've known, it seems as though Lyft is a little bit better option when it comes to safety and security of their passengers than Uber. So just be very careful, and also make sure that they don't have that lock, like the child lock on when you get into a vehicle, so that if something did go wrong, you can get out and you're not trapped in that vehicle. And drive responsibly. If you're out for the holidays celebrating, don't drink and drive.
Right.
Time of year we have a lot of DUIs, and it's just not a good position to be in.
Yeah, because you don't want to ruin your time away having a good time, then causing a bad situation for yourself or somebody else. In an injury, or hope it never happens, death. This is not going to be an enjoyable ride.
Yep. Yeah, I definitely don't want that.
Let's see. Oh, when you do travel, give your timeline to the people that you're going to visit or be with, and then also to somebody back at home that, hey, I should be in Wyoming on Thursday around, in the evening or something. And then follow up with those to make sure that you've got, some sort of timeline if something were to happen, that law enforcement has a ability to narrow the parameters of what they may need to do if you're late arriving, and then you get into an accident. They've got a shorter time span to look for you, instead of, well, they left last Thursday and it's Wednesday and I haven't heard from them since. No, that's just something that you want to. It's a good practice to have, that let people know when you're leaving, what time you're going to get there, and keep in touch with them if you get delayed or something. It's common courtesy, or I say common, it's courtesy to do that. And then it's also a safety technique to keep yourself safe and secure.
Right.
Okay. The travels again, if you travel by public transportation, bus, plane, or something, make sure you adhere to the guidelines for that carrier that you're using, because airplane travel is very strict. So make sure if you have any questions on, am I doing it correctly, reach out to either a law enforcement officer or even maybe another firearms instructor. Say, hey, I haven't traveled, with my gun since I've got my license, but I'm traveling this time. What's the best practice for me to do this? And then also, you can also contact that airline, and they usually will give you a pretty detailed list of what you need to do and how you need to store everything for flying and everything.
Yeah, make sure whatever bag you're using doesn't have a firearm in it, because it's happened even to attorneys that you go to the airport and you forget there's a firearm in the bag, you have some ammo. Yeah. The other day when I was traveling to Utah, I dumped my bag a million times. Like, I checked it to make sure that there's nothing in it, because sometimes you forget, you just throw something in another bag and you didn't think about it, especially if you have more than one firearm. Yeah. Like me, what I'll do is I'll switch bags out, and there might be something in there that you forgot was in the bag. So just make sure that you're checking it.
Yeah.
And if you have children at home, obviously you want to make sure that there's nothing left behind or anything that your children can get a hold of. But just make sure that those firearms are not in that bag when you go to the airport.
Yeah. And it's that elusive round that pops out of the magazine or that you had at the range in this particular bag that you used. Dumping it one time and not falling out, it may not come out. It may be caught in a crevice or something.
Yep.
But you really
Yep.
have to look at it, because if you try to take that bag that has that round that got stuck into an
Yep.
airport or something, you're looking at some major federal laws that you broke. So
Yeah, that's why I carried a backpack that I use for my laptop bag. So it wasn't one of my range bags, but because as an instructor, things fall out just exactly like you said. And what I did was I dumped it outside. I checked every seam, every crevice, everything that I could imagine. I checked just in case, even though I know I don't use that bag for that purpose, I know that something like that could happen. And then I had another person check it as well. But yeah, you're absolutely right about that. The shell casings, ammo can get in these little tight spots, and that can be a big problem for you at the airport.
yeah, even if it's a spent cartridge, it can still be a big problem.
Right.
All right. If you don't have anything else, we'll go to our businesses that are out there and give them some tips. And this is kind of a little bit on what you do on the side in another podcast, but let's talk about some business tactics that business owners or businesses with their employees can take during this holiday season, because we got a lot of cash that's going transaction, a lot of bank travels. Give us some tips, Crystal.
Yeah, and this actually happened to my mother many years ago when she was working with her boss. There was a vehicle that knew what their routine was and what time they did their drops, and the vehicle came and blocked her boss. And as he was going to leave, they drove their car and parked it right behind her boss, and he was robbed right there in the parking lot. So if you do your drops, make sure you kind of change up the time, especially during the holiday in case someone is watching you. I mean, it's a good idea to do that anyway, but during the holiday season, as we know, especially right now with everything that's going on with the government shutdown.
Right.
People are desperate for money.
Yeah.
So don't do the same routines. Be very careful. Keep your eyes open when you're out in public. Also have somebody else be a lookout for you. So if you know you're going to your vehicle with your bank, take a look around and make sure there's nobody that's standing around getting ready to rob you in the parking lot. So definitely be careful of that. Also be careful of who you are allowing in your building. I know a lot of these companies has those door fobs and you got to go in. But what happens is people will allow anyone to walk in behind them. So they're like, oh, you're coming in? Oh, come on in. So they'll piggyback in.
Yeah.
Be very careful. You don't know what the people, what their intentions are, especially with the, what do you call it, jewelry stores now at this time of year.
Yeah.
The jewelry store heist. Just be very careful about who's coming through that front door.
Right. Yeah. And one thing that we talked about businesses making their drops and everything at the bank. I know most law enforcement agencies, especially, and they understand more so during the holiday, they do it as a service. You call and say, hey, would like to have an officer escort me to my bank to make a drop. Most of them will send somebody, if they're not all tied up, but they will send somebody to escort you or follow you to the bank and kind of watch you until you drop it, and then you split ways and everything. But that's another tip for the businesses that maybe don't normally have law enforcement help or don't have normally large deposits that they deal with, but during the holiday you do. It's just a thing that be aware of that you can do especially if you don't have a second person that kind of watches for you or goes or follows you.
Right.
And I guess, with businesses, make sure if you got cameras, most businesses, I won't say most, a lot of businesses are going to recordings, cameras, CCTV. If you have them and you are, got one over a register or something, my preference or my suggestion is make sure it works. You can have it as a decoy or a dummy, but if you want to splurge, or like I said, you got those Roku, those other forms of wireless cameras that you can record on a SD card or something, or on a phone. You can have it backed up to the phone. You've got it there for safety in case you were robbed or in case something did happen. I would just That's my recommendation, to at least try to have a working camera in your high value points, whether it's the front door, the register, the back room, or something that is actually working. So you've got something to protect yourself if you do have a crime where they can possibly use it for prosecution.
Yeah, and if they don't have cameras, and even if they do, it's a good idea to also, you know, educate your employees on what to do if something were to happen, and also to note the physical description. So they're able to give a decent description to law enforcement of who the person is. If you have cameras, obviously you can go back to the cameras, but if you don't, which a lot of these companies that I've spoken to, they have a camera, but it's not even working, like you said earlier.
Yeah.
So we're going to rely on what our staff has seen. So, give a good physical description.
Okay. Uh, Anything else on the business that you can think of that you want to?
Yes, actually, I thought about it is, train your employees that what to do during a robbery. So don't have them fight the bad guy or bad girl. I've seen many videos where an innocent person was hurt because I chased somebody out of the store that was, running out with over here by me, at least it happens all the time,
Yeah.
where a person will be stealing from the supermarket or a TJ Maxx or a Marshall's. They'll run out of the store, and then sometimes you'll see the store employee chasing after them.
Yeah.
Never give chase. It's all, insured. It's not worth your life. So just let them go, even if it's hard to do, because it's very frustrating to see a thief run out with your property. But, teach your staff not to pursue that. Just let them go.
Right.
So that they're safe.
Yeah, and that the going back to the chasing of somebody out of your store, you don't know what you're walking into. There may be a couple people being watches out front waiting for this person to come out and then to jump in a vehicle, run down the alley or whatever. You just don't know what situation you're going to be putting yourself into by giving chase. So
Right.
Just be mindful of that.
Yep.
Let's see. Yeah, I guess having a plan. If you have I know some department stores or some large stores have walkie talkies with their earpieces where they can communicate with people, other employees. If you have a big store and have a lot of staff during the holiday season, that may be a good, wise investment, is to have those walkie talkies where maybe you got an employee in the back and someone's up front and something happens out front. You can maybe tip off that employee in the back that, hey, don't come out, hide or something like that, or you need help because you got a medical situation out front. There's a lot of stuff that can happen. Just having communication is a good thing to have in your business. So
Yeah, and we think about theft and these types of crime from the outside, but there's also a lot of internal theft that happens, especially during the holidays where we have temporary workers.
right.
So we really need to have a robust hiring practice when we're hiring for the holidays, because it's a lot easier for this internal theft to happen when it's somebody that's new or hasn't really been vetted properly.
Right.
So be very careful when you're hiring somebody. Do a thorough background. Otherwise, it's going to come back to bite you in the butt.
Yes. Okay. I think we've kind of got the nutshell wrapped up here. Just wanted to give some personal tips and tactics to everybody for safe holidays. We want to see everybody have fun, but we also want to see them safe and secure, and return back to their lifestyle after the holidays. So take these tips and try to implement them if you don't already do that in your daily routine, and enjoy the holidays. We're still working on some podcast interviews, scheduling and stuff, but enjoy your holidays. We hope to have you back either during the holidays listening, or after your holiday rush is over, coming back and getting back into the podcast. But I'd like to thank everybody for taking the time to listen. Hope these tips and tactics are something that you pick up on and use. Thank you, Crystal, for your input on this. Like I said, I know you've got another podcast that you're doing more business related and kind of in some of the stuff that we discussed here, but it's something that we all need to be watchful and mindful of things during the holidays, because it does get so rushed and hustle and bustle that we tend to let our guard down, tend to, oh, it won't happen to me. I'm just going to the store, just running into the mall to grab something real quick and come back out. And we just want to make sure everybody has a safe holiday.
Absolutely.
All right, Crystal, any closing remarks you want to give before we end this episode?
I just want to say happy holidays to everybody. Just keep your eyes open, be safe, enjoy the time you have with your family and friends. And we'll see you on the next episode.
All right. Sounds good. Thank y'all. And we hope you have a wonderful holiday.
The information provided in this podcast is intended for educational and informational purposes only. The content is not a substitute for professional self-defense training, legal advice, or consultation with relevant authorities. Listeners are encouraged to seek guidance from qualified self-defense instructors and legal professionals to ensure that their actions align with local laws and regulations. The podcast hosts and creators disclaim any liability for personal injury, property damage, or legal consequences resulting from the use or misuse of the information presented. Stay informed, stay safe, and consult with experts for personalized advice.
Hi, this is Brian, host of the Armed Guardian podcast and owner of Blueberry Tactical and Training. While we were looking to find a official drink for both the company and the podcast, we searched for several different types of drinks, and we have come to find Blackout Coffee is a drink that we can put our trust into. It's a coffee with values. It's coffee that's more than just a coffee company. They're a purpose-driven company that acknowledges the people and the traditions that make our country great. They're known for supporting the traditional American values, military, first responders, and hardworking people all across America. Blackout Coffee was founded on the principles of conservative values. The founders believe in the importance of hard work, personal responsibility, family, respect, and traditional American values. So, Armed Guardian Podcast and Blueberry Tactical are proud to make Blackout Coffee our official drink for the podcast and our business. So, in the link below in our show notes, if you don't mind visiting, check out them. They also have teas and cocos that are available if you prefer those, but check them out. There's a link in the show notes, and there's also a coupon code for 10% off your first order. So check out Blackout Coffee and enjoy their drink.